Alright, ladies and germs, welcome to another episode of RainbowFruit Radio. I'm here today. Here is a beautiful sunny morning. It's been raining lately, I won't lie, pretty heavy rain. But I look outside now and what do I see? It's a beautiful fucking day. The sun's out. Oh look, there's a little creek. There's a little creek just outside my window. And oh look at that, there's a couple little Sasquatches. They're playing around in the creek. Oh, that's so cute. It looks like a couple little adolescent Sasquatches playing around. They're tossing water at each other, hooting and hollering. I don't know, there's a sort of bigger Sasquatch approaching them from the other side of the creek. What's he doing? Oh, looks like he's picking up a stick. That's interesting. What's he gonna do with this? Oh my god! Oh my god! He's beating the little Sasquatches with the stick! Oh my god! What the fuck? Oh my god, that little Sasquatch is dead! Oh my god, he's hitting the other one with the fucking stick! What the fuck? Oh my god, they're dead! What the fuck? Why did he do that? That big Sasquatch just beat the other little Sasquatches with a fucking stick. Oh, what's he doing now? What's he doing? Oh my god, he's jacking off. He's pulling his cock out. Oh god. So we're on V-Rising. Who gives a shit? It's fucking vampire bullshitter. But it does bring to attention something that's real. Now forget about the Sasquatch thing. That was made up. Believe it or not, there weren't actually a couple Sasquatches like fighting with a stick outside my window. Okay, I made that up. Sorry to traumatize you. But here's something that's real. I was playing this game with the bros, and I was thinking about vampires. Somehow, I don't know, we got on the topic about piss somehow. I had a vision, a skin-crawling vision, might I say. It was the kind of vision where, like, you'd have a nightmare about this, and then you'd wake up and you would remember that nightmare for years. Now let me just set the scene for you here. Imagine a vampire, but instead of sucking your blood, he sucks your piss. Now before you click off the video, let me just elaborate here. You wake up in your bed, and there's a vampire sucking the blood out your neck, right? That's one thing. Now imagine you wake up in your bed, and you feel a numbness on your abdomen. So you remove the covers, and you see that a vampire is on top of your body, teeth penetrating your bladder, sucking the piss straight out. Alright, you'd never be the same person again. You know what I mean? You'd never sleep again. You would be much like a vampire. You know what I mean? You'd be up during the night because you'd be scared that it's gonna suck the piss out your body. I don't know, maybe is it just me or is this absolutely fucking harrowing? Is this nightmare fuel to anyone else? Like, if I found out that there was a such thing as piss vampires, piss pyres, if you will, I think I might actually end my life for real. I ain't gotta be sharing a plane of existence with no piss pyres. Anyway, we have a little bit of news to cover. Now, this is not a news channel, but sometimes you gotta talk about the new shit that's going down. And frankly, there's a big fucking elephant in the room, and we gotta talk about it. Donald Trump has been cited speaking to several suspicious characters. There are a few images where there are 2. There are some images where there are 3 of these characters, and they're all wearing peculiar outfits. Now, there's a lot of controversy coming out here. Everybody seems to think it's the Thalmor. Let me assure you people, he's not talking to the Thalmor. Notice the picture I have put on screen at this exact moment. This picture is photoshopped. This is not a real picture. This is not real. Someone cleverly manipulated this image as to make it appear that Trump is conversing with Thalmor operatives. Now, if you don't know anything about the Thalmor, It's a little hard to believe because who the fuck is on this goddamn platform that hasn't at least heard of Skyrim? But I'll give you a little crash course on the Thalmor. These guys are evil bastards. You don't want to be associating with the Thalmor. They're an evil cabal of elves. These guys will pull strings behind the scenes and try to make things shift in their favor politically. You know, they'll make alliances with whoever they feel like they need to, but their word is meaningless because they'll betray you the second they feel it necessary, right? They have no loyalty whatsoever. Their only interest is conquering the continent. So now that you know a little bit about the Thalmor, what if I told you that not only is Donald Trump not speaking with the Thalmor, he's actually speaking with a group of people that are, like, far worse than the Thalmor. So you've seen the photoshopped image that is not real. Let me put the real images on screen here, alright? These are the real, unedited, definitely not AI images of him truly in real life talking to real, true people. Now, what's the first thing you notice about these characters, alright? You probably notice the fact that their robes are red. You ever notice that? These are fucking red wizards. If you don't know about the red wizards, I suggest that you educate yourself immediately, alright? Because if President Trump is conversing with red wizards, we're in fucking trouble because those sons of bitches, alright, the Thalmor, they just want to conquer the planet. These sons of bitches want to fucking destroy it. You picking up what I'm laying down? These guys want to create an army of the undead. Enslave everyone. I mean, I'm not 100% familiar with, like, what their end games are. They're a very secretive group, to be fair, right? They're very secretive. There's not much we know about them, but they are not known for being upstanding individuals, right? So keep an eye out, and if Trump starts talking about some, raising an army of the undead, a little alarm bell should be going off because I don't think they're aligned with Americans' interests. Now, as far as the news that goes beyond the realm of the president conspiring with the Red Wizards, it's kind of hard to compete for airtime. Why is CNN and Fox News and all these big news corporations with millions of dollars behind them not talking about Trump being in cahoots with the Red Wizards? Why do you have to come to channels like mine to get the real scoop? Right? You have to rely on people like me, independent channels like mine, to get the real news stories. That really says a lot about American news media. Anyway, I gotta talk about this remaster for Godzilla Destroy All Monsters Melee. Gotta talk about it because I gotta be honest with you people, I'm a fan of a lot of things. I like a lot of pop culture shit, but Godzilla, you'd have a hard time finding something that I'm a bigger fan of than Godzilla. I've played this game. I played it on GameCube. I actually have the disc in my closet as we speak. They're remaking this, from what I understand, is a fairly obscure Godzilla title. And I'm sure it'll be fun and all, but I just can't help but wonder, why this? Why not Godzilla Unleashed? Godzilla Unleashed is just the exact same game as Destroy All Monsters Melee, but it has more features. It has more of a story mode, it has more characters, and frankly, I actually think the combat system is a little better. Granted, if you're playing on the Wii, you did have to, use the fucking god-awful motion controls to be able to do any of your special attacks. But ignoring that, they would change that in the remaster, right? You think they would, that'd be one of the things they changed, like when they remastered Donkey Kong Country Returns for, I think it was for the 3DS or something. But anyway, they got rid of the motion controls. You can't be swinging your 3DS around like a fucking maniac. If you were to be swinging around your 3DS like the people were with their Wiimotes back in the day, that is like a fucking $300-400 contraption. If you toss that at the wall, it would fucking erupt. You'd have the batteries inside it erupting and it'd be fucking turning into a volcano in your living room. sparks and shit flying out. It would just be a disaster, right? Let alone if you ever smack someone upside the head with one of these Wiimotes, right? Now imagine doing that with 3DS. Hit your little brother over the head with fucking 3DS. But they would get rid of that feature, surely, in a potential remake of Unleashed. Now, there's no easy way to put this, but basically, if this episode of RainbowFruit Radio was like going to a restaurant and getting like some fancy meal, the intro where I'm like talking about vampire piss, that's the appetizer. And then the section, the segment where I'm talking about the news, that's the real meat and potatoes of the episode. But imagine, if you will, you're at this restaurant, you eat your appetizer, it's pretty good. You get your meat and potatoes, right? The main course, it's fucking delicious. Now I'd like you to imagine that the waiter approaches you and says, "Excuse me, sir, but there's one more meal that we have to serve you." And he just pulls out a bowl just full of mashed potatoes. No salt, no pepper, no butter, just mashed potatoes. And then you go, "Sir, I didn't order this. Why are you giving this to me?" And he goes, "Oh no, it's just part of the complete package eating here. You know, first you get your appetizer, then you get the main course, and then you get like a fucking gallon of mashed potatoes." Well, that's what this episode is going to be, because I have an extremely long and not very funny story to tell all of you. I was contemplating not including this segment, but I want to talk about it. I got to get it off my chest, because it's kind of an interesting story, at least. You're not going to be rubbing your belly, chuckling, oh. You know, you're not going to be gut laughing. But at the very least, maybe you'll find it slightly interesting. About a week ago, I got a dating account. Alright, I've got a dating profile on Hinge. It happens to all of us, right? You're single for a while, and at some point you're just like, could do with some companionship. I'm ready for a relationship now, think I'm in the right headspace. I've more or less, got my life together. I can pay my bills. I know how to make some food. Not a lot, but some. I've become very proficient with the air fryer. I can put a lot of shit in the air fryer and turn it on, and then come back later and pull it out when it's ready. So I download the app, create my little account. Gotta say, it got a little bit of an ego boost because I got 2 matches within 24 hours. One of these matches did lead to some conversations. And so that I don't give away her name, we're just going to refer to her as Mrs. Fortnite. I came up with that on the fly. Maybe I could have thought of something a little more mature, but whatever. Mrs. Fortnite and I were talking. Things were going pretty smoothly. We had a lot in common. I had similar senses of humor, which is, I think, very important in a partner. We have very similar views on controversial topics, right? In our day and age, you got to make sure you're on... you don't have to be on the same page with politics, but you just have to not be on a very specific page when it comes to politics, if you catch my drift. And things are going good. We're having a conversation that goes on for a few days. Now, before I get to the real twist of how this story ends, I just want to lay out the evidence, because I feel the need to justify my actions a little bit. So bear with me. I am painting a picture. It wouldn't be a good movie if you just skip to the end and watch the climax. You gotta see Act 1, you gotta see Act 2. So let me just set the scene here, and you can judge me if you think that I've made a terrible error. So here's the first roadblock, the first little obstacle on this path that I've decided to traverse. She has a dog. Alright. Now this is probably not going to move most of you, because most people are dog people, in my experience. That's fine and good. We've had dogs before, I've had to take care of dogs. But this is no ordinary dog. Not only is it a big dog, but it's a young dog. Only a few years old. Now, if you've ever had to deal with young, big dogs, they can be a little rascally. I didn't grow up around big dogs, so I don't really know how to act around them. The only dog we ever had was this, neurotic-ass little fucking toy poodle. He would just, wander around and shake constantly, and he'd, act nervous anytime anyone was near him. But not only is it a spry, young, big fucking dog that wants to slobber all over you and jump up and bark and shit, it's a pit bull. Alright? I just gotta rip the band-aid off. It was a pit bull. If you're not familiar with the statistics around dog-related fatalities, let me just inform you that pit bulls are known to attack and kill people, particularly the young people. Pit bulls, they do have a tendency to lunge at people's necks and rip out their throats with their teeth, right? They have that tendency. So, I gotta be honest with you, I gotta be real with you guys. I was a little put off. Let me just emphasize, I wasn't just here to score some hot snatch, if you know what I mean. I wasn't just here to scoop some of that delectable poontang and then be on my way. I'm interested in a relationship, right? I'm interested in a companion. And so, if I were to really seriously get involved in a relationship with this person, I'm also kind of, in a way, getting into a relationship with the dog. So, I either get used to the dog or I have to just admit to myself that the relationship isn't going to work. So I figure, you know what? Maybe I just need to meet the dog, right? Maybe I just need to get a feel for what it's like to be around the dog. Maybe it won't be that big of a deal. But here's the next piece. And this is a pretty big fucking piece. In fact, this is the main reason I'm even making this segment. We get on the topic of movies that are so bad they're good. And we were coming up with examples. You got your classics. You got Velocipaster, Sharknado, Street Fighter 1994, and she mentions Twilight, which I've never seen. I've heard so many people say that it's so bad it's good that I started to actually kind of want to watch it. So I told her that. I'm like, oh man, I kind of want to watch it. I've never seen it. So she responds with this very distinct sense of urgency and says something to the effect of, we're gonna watch it right now. We're gonna watch it tonight. Come over here right now. Now, at the time this message was received, the time was somewhere between 8:30 and 9 o'clock at night. Now granted, it was a Friday night, and it's not like I was doing anything the following day. But I just feel like meeting someone online for the first time, I really just feel like, you kind of want it to be in a public place. Maybe I'm a little old-fashioned, but I'm definitely like a get a coffee kind of guy. Like, I'll buy you a coffee. So, I tell her, probably not tonight, but I'd be down. We could do it some other time, maybe over the weekend, maybe later in the week. And, how do I put this? I'm trying to, what's the best way to put this? How do I word the reaction that she had? Basically, she entered a void rage and just started saying things like, you fumbled me, you don't even know how badly you fumbled me, how dare you betray me. Okay, now at this point in our conversations, there's been a few instances where we've been kind of playing characters to each other. Like, she was saying, oh, would you fight me at, in the parking lot of the local Denny's? And I'd say something like, oh yeah, I'd attack you, bro. I'd try to pin you down and, like, fucking beat the shit out of you. And she'd be like, nuh-uh, I'll fucking knock you unconscious. That kind of thing. So I figured that's what she was doing. I figured, okay, she's playing this character. She's kind of like pretending to be the kind of lady who wants to fight me in the Denny's parking lot. But she's fighting with me because I didn't want to go see Twilight last minute with her. And so I was kind of like playing into it. Kind of going, we're having what I thought was just like a funny back and forth. But then she just keeps going. And she kees escalating. And it's starting like she's threatening me. But the threats are starting to become more and more plausible. Like, it just keeps escalating, and at a certain point, I'm like, okay, is she for real? Like, is she actually mad about this? I really can't tell. So, I send a text saying something to the effect of, are you really mad about this? And she goes, no, it's fine. I just can't do it this weekend. So, I just say, okay, well, I don't know, maybe we'll do it sometime later the week. We say goodnight. And 20 minutes go by, and I'm playing the situation out in my head. I reopen the app. I open Hinge. look at the chats, and she's not there. Which, I had to look this up because I've only just now started using the app. She unmatched. That's what that means. When the chat disappears with no notification, it means she unmatched. I was kind of baffled because I was like, oh, I thought we ended on good terms. I don't know. I was just like, fuck it. Going to bed. I'm not going to worry about this. I guess it's over between us. You know, I'm not going to like cry myself to sleep because she unmatched. She was getting a little annoying at the end there, so I figured, whatever. There's plenty of fish in the sea. I'll find someone else. It's not that big a deal. Now, here's where the story takes a dark, fucked up turn. This is the part of the creepypasta where Tails walks up to Sonic and Sonic's back is turned to Tails. Tails goes, "Oh, Sonic, are you okay?" And Sonic slowly turns around and you see his eyes have been darkened. His pupils are pure red and there's blood streaming down his eyes. So, Saturday comes and goes. Sunday morning, so a full 24 hours later, I wake up with a notification on my phone from Mrs. Fortnite. She has liked my profile. So, when you like someone's profile on Hinge, you have the option to leave a comment on it. So the first thing you see when you open up the notification is you see Mrs. Fortnite liked your profile and she left this comment. The comment she left was, "Oh, there you are. I was looking for you all day." So I open her profile and it's more or less the same as before, but it has a few little distinct changes to it. All of her prompts are about the same, but they're just slightly worded differently. A few of her pictures have been swapped out. And there's one very curious change where so your Hinge profile gives you the option to say what kind of relationship you're looking for. The profile that I matched her on, she had long-term relationship as her sought-after relationship type. But it has now been changed to life partner. Okay? Do with that what you will, but I did think that was a little odd. And there was a couple other changes. Like, she changed her sexuality from straight to demisexual. Little peculiar changes here and there, but clearly it was the same person. So anyway, we get into the chat, but I don't waste much time before popping the big question. I say, you know, what's up? Like, what is this? Did you make like a new profile or something? Basically trying to say in a more polite way, why did you unmatch me and then rematch with me? Something which I feel like is a reasonable question. And she responds with something like, "Oh yeah, Friday night I freaked out and deleted the app. Sorry I disappeared." So now after this long-ass segment, I invite you, the viewer, to imagine how would you react in this situation after all of this. I've laid out all of the evidence here, right? You're the detective. You're the investigator. I've given you all the evidence that I've managed to collect, and I'd like you to try and piece together what the fuck happened. Because, as best as I can see it, I'll keep it real with you guys. My interpretation is that this bitch is crazy. To put it bluntly. I don't want to be too harsh, because the reality is, she might just be an immature person. My theory, and what I've managed to put together here, alright, now, I'm no Sherlock Holmes, but it sure sounds like she was mad that I didn't accept her terms to like go over to her place and watch Twilight with her. So she had a temper tantrum and deleted the app, and then woke up and realized, oh no, my consequences have actions, and then rematched with me. Now, on some level, I am a little flattered that someone would go through all this trouble, but I'm also very creeped out. Like, even if I accidentally unmatched with someone, let alone intentionally. There is a 0% chance that I would go through the trouble of making a whole new profile just to track them down and restart the conversation. From the way I see it, this is like the kind of lady who would get in an argument with her boyfriend and then block him. I don't need that kind of drama in my life. Life is hard enough as it is. I'm not downloading a dating app, and I'm not getting involved in a relationship to make my life worse. If I had any dating advice to offer the younger generation, or all of you single, beautiful single people out there, I'm no good at dating, but I am good at trusting my instincts. My advice is, trust your gut. Well, you made it to the end of this epic episode where we talked about a variety of creatures and monsters, which include piss vampires, Sasquatches, red wizards, Godzilla, and the scariest monster of them all, women. Tune in for the next episode where I talk about the time I accidentally pulled a gun at my local coffee shop and blasted someone's foot off. But until then, make sure to subscribe and have a good one.